Buenos noches. My name is Justin Barber, and I'm a sixth-year Spanish student here at Catoctin High. Although my first 2 years of Spanish education came from Thurmont Middle School, the people I've met and the skills ranging beyond the basic language that I've learned through the following 4 years at Catoctin High are what made me fall in love with the language. As a senior, I like to look back on my time spent in this building and the memories I've made as well. I don't know if Senora realizes this, but she was the first teacher in the first classroom I walked into on the first day of my freshman year. From that day, it was always evident that she carried not only a love for the language, but for the culture as well. She has always preached the importance of not only being able to pass tests and finish bookwork, but being able to understand the culture and use of the language to connect with people from backgrounds that otherwise students from Catoctin would not have the opportunity to understand. Her passion was and still is reflected in the classroom today, where I'm no longer a student of hers, instead helping teach the new generation of Cholitos the same love of the language that Senora taught me years ago. I have found my way into her classroom every year since I began high school. I'm sure Senora has found that annoying at some points, but I can say that the memories I've made paired with the skills she has taught me will be cherished for life. To the parents, thank you for supporting us through our journey in this language. To Senora, gracias para su tiempo y todos que la hacer para los estudiantes. Te amamos. And to the newest generation of Cholitos, buena suerte. Y no olviden que el idioma está más que algunas oraciones. Gracias.
Hi everyone, my name is Summer, and next semester I'll be taking Spanish 4. My relationship with the Spanish language started in 8th grade when I was placed in the Spanish 1 class for my second elective. At first, I was quite disappointed that I'd be taking Spanish. I didn't understand the purpose or enjoyment of learning another language. However, as I continued taking the class, I really started to love it. Now, my friends and I can have conversations in Spanish, we're going to Costa Rica together, we attended Spanish-speaking community night, and we have Spanish nicknames for each other. While learning Spanish is challenging, it is very interesting and important to me. My favorite part of the class is learning about culture. The way other people in different parts of the world live is very interesting to me. We at Catoctin are so lucky to be able to learn a new language while we are young and have it at no cost to us. We are also thankful for Senora Griffin, who supports us in our learning every day. Being in Spanish Honor Society has given me a great chance to help others and to further my knowledge in a language that I love. Hola, me llamo Verano y el próximo semestre yo voy a tomar Español 4. Mi relación a la lengua española empezó en el 8º grado cuando yo estaba en la clase Español 1. Primero, estaba decepcionada que yo estaría tomando la clase de español. Yo no entendí el propósito o el gusto de aprender una otra lengua. Sin embargo, mientras yo continué tomando la clase, yo empecé a quererlo. Ahora, mis amigos y yo podemos tener conversaciones en español, iremos a Costa Rica juntos, atendimos Noche de Comunidad y habla español, y tenemos apodos en español. Aunque aprender español puede ser difícil, es muy interesante y muy importante para mí. Mi parte favorita de clase es aprender sobre cultura. La manera que otras personas viven en partes diferentes del mundo es muy interesante para mí. Nosotros en Catoctin somos muy afortunados para poder aprender una lengua nueva mientras somos jóvenes y tenerlo sin costo para nosotros. Todos estamos muy agradecidos por Senora Griffin que apoya a nosotros.
My name is Madison Raimondi, or if you've taken Spanish with me, you would know me as Margarita. This evening, I will be sharing the story of how I became interested in the language and why it is so important to me. Let me begin with some background. My great-grandparents immigrated to Brooklyn, New York from San Sebastian, Puerto Rico in the 1950s. They settled down in a predominantly white neighborhood. In this area, it was frowned upon to speak Spanish in public. If you did, you would be ridiculed or beaten up for it. For this reason, my grandmother basically refused to speak Spanish, even though her parents knew almost no English. Fast forward to the 1970s, when my mom was born. During this time, Brooklyn was overflowing with Spanish speakers. Now there were entire neighborhoods where Hispanic communities flourished. It was no longer deemed wrong to speak Spanish. People were free to celebrate their cultures without as much persecution as there was 20 years ago. Growing up, I always knew that I came from a Puerto Rican background. It was something that sat in the back of my mind, but was never fully recognized. I was exposed to certain aspects of the culture, like the food and the music. However, Spanish was never spoken in my household. Because of this, I always felt confused about my identity. Do I count as Hispanic even though I can't speak the language? Am I allowed to identify as Hispanic, or is it wrong for me to do so? Oftentimes, I found myself asking these questions. I was enrolled in my first Spanish class in 6th grade. I'm going to admit it wasn't always easy. I would spend hours practicing in order to commit the words and phrases to memory. Over time, I began to notice that I was actually improving. The more Spanish I learned, the more my interest developed. As I went from knowing simple vocabulary words to complete sentences, my passion for the language grew. I decided to continue taking Spanish when I moved on to high school. I had already learned so much, and it wouldn't make sense for me to quit. I was determined to make it all the way to AP, and I did in my junior year. Over 400 million people in the world speak Spanish, making it the second most spoken language in the world. In the United States alone, there are approximately 50 million Spanish speakers. Learning another language, even if it is not Spanish, has numerous benefits. One of them is that it could actually help advance your career. Jobs tend to hire more people who are bilingual because it sets you apart from others. A second advantage of learning another language is that it can improve memory and critical thinking skills and overall enhance your cognitive abilities. A third benefit of learning another language is that it allows you to connect with other cultures and see the world from different viewpoints. Personally, I enjoy Spanish for a multitude of reasons. It allows me to connect to my culture in a way that can only be achieved through speaking the language. By doing so, I have gained a deeper understanding of who I am. On top of that, learning Spanish has honestly been a lot of fun over the years. It is such an indispensable skill to have, and I feel so appreciative to have been able to achieve so much with it. After high school, I plan to continue improving my Spanish and become the best that I can be at it.